Hello fellow dim racers. Could Project Motor Racing actually be the next Assetto Corsa? That is what I'm going to discuss in this video, a highly controversial video, one that you shouldn't watch unless you've got a good cup of tea. Subscribe so you can unsubscribe when you disagree with me, click the like button, and thank you very much to everyone that is a member and all of those considering to become members. It's a great way to waste money and ruin your life while supporting this channel. On with the video. So, Mr. Bold Idiot Gitface, what do you mean by the next Assetto Corsa? This sounds ludicrous. What I mean is the game that becomes the de facto popular mod platform and the popular sort of all-rounder racing simulator that a good swathe of the sim racing community sort of jump on and get behind. A good example of what we had before AC, which was the AC before AC, is the original R-Factor 1 that became like the de facto general esports modding platform that everybody jumped behind and got on board with. And then AC came along. But you also had R-Factor 2, where the developer kind of assumed everybody's going to get on board with modding for this and it's going to become the next big platform. And, well, it never happened because R-Factor 2 was a buggy mess at launch and a pain in the arse to use and overly complicated. So now we have this situation where we have Assetto Corsa Evo, touted to be the next Assetto Corsa, and we have Project Motor Racing, touted to be the next Project Cars or the next GTR. But the point is, both AC Evo and Project Motor Racing are aiming to have that kind of mod support and be sim racing titles that appeal and attract the hardcore sim racing community and culture behind them. And the thing is, if you'd asked me 4 months ago, I would have said, yep, Assetto Corsa Evo is probably going to be that. It's the next Assetto Corsa. It's quite likely, one of the more likely titles to manage to achieve to do that. But after the last updates and the latest alpha, pre-alpha, beta 0.3 update to Assetto Corsa, the way it drives and just the nature of that project, I really just don't think Evo is going to actually go in that direction and appeal to people in that way. You can hold me to that in 2 years' time. I'm open to being wrong. Who knows what will happen? But yeah, I really feel, at best, Assetto Corsa Evo is going to take at least 1 to 2 years to get into a state where really it's in a position for modding and for the sort of culture, the wider sim racing culture and the hardcore sim racing culture to really get behind it. Whereas Project Motor Racing, though we've only seen a little bit about it, and who knows when it launches, it might be buggy, it might have problems, it might be terrible, you know, who knows when it actually launches, but it's supposedly coming out on the 25th of November as a finished, ready-to-play title. A title with cross-play between console and PC at launch, and then the mod support, as well as it also having single-player and other features. So, from what I can really sense and tell, Project Motor Racing is effectively way further ahead than Assetto Corsa Evo. Plus, it has the advantage of it being on a cross-play console title as well, which means at launch it will just have significantly more players than what even Evo will have at launch. And who knows when Evo will come out on console as well as PC to get that those larger player numbers. And you have to think about it. If you're a modder, if you want to just do Wild West modding, you don't care about rights, and you just want to mess around and do something crazy, you're probably not going to go to Assetto Corsa Evo or Project Motor Racing. You would do something in the original Assetto Corsa. It's basically a free game. Mental stuff's happening with it all the time. It's well understood. It's simple to use. It drives amazing. I think drives better than Evo easily, and runs amazing. You know, generally your modders are going to be quite hard to tug away from the original Assetto when it comes to the sort of pure Wild West modding. Let's try some random crap out and see what happens, or new crazy stuff. If anything, I also think whatever Evo does, the AC1 modders are gonna like try and one up it. It's gonna be a right battle between AC modders and official Kunos Evo stuff. That's another video and an interesting thing to talk about. So if it comes to like doing official modding, where maybe you've got a license or you've thought about things and you want to do modding properly, you're a decent, you know, like an established mod team, or you want your work to be seen by the most number of people and appreciated and maybe raced online and what have you, which sim would you go for if you're not going for the original AC? Would you go for Evo, which isn't going to be ready for like a year or two and doesn't necessarily have the wide users for a year or two? Or would you start doing mods for a simulator that potentially drives better than Evo already and is cross-platform and already sort of a polished game that's an actual title, a coherent, solid thing? Which one are you going to start making mods for? I mean, you can't even make mods for Evo at this point in time, and probably not for in the next 2 or 3 months. You probably can't even start making mods. Whereas Project Motor Racing, maybe like a few months after launch, maybe that'll be an option straight away. So you'll have a larger audience. You'll have a sim that's potentially more finished. Why would you go to Evo over Project Motor Racing? You know, who knows? I mean, maybe Evo does strike a chord with people. Maybe Kunos massively improve it. Maybe the idea of the road cars and the free roaming, that attracts people in. I can see that happening. But as I can see it right now, Project Motor Racing, to me, the vibe and the nature of it, as I say, captures more of that kind of 2000s sim racing scene kind of feel to it, like a more sort of organic sim racing thing, rather than where Evo feels like the developer is promising a lot and then what they've shown is not lining up with what they've talked about. It's difficult to really explain how and why you get these kind of vibe and feelings about what's likely to happen or what's going on, and it's hard to say what that's based on as well, but that's just the kind of feel that I'm getting at this point in time. I mean, ultimately though, as I say, I do think the original AC is just going to hang on as what it is, because it's so good. Like the 3D graphics are fine, it runs great, it's easy to mod, and it's a total Wild West, and absolutely nobody has any control over it. And you've seen this with Richard Burns Rally, for example. Even when you've had great commercial products that are actually good sim racing titles, like Dirt Rally 1 and Dirt Rally 2, Richard Burns Rally has kind of chugged along like a rusty steam train, because people are doing Richard Burns Rally mods, seasons, content, tracks, stages and everything. They're doing it out of the absolute pure joy of modding and sim racing. It's not commercially motivated, and I feel like that's a lot of the AC stuff, though I'd imagine Ilya is somewhat commercially motivated due to the sub money that he gets for Shader Patch on his Patreon. But you know what I'm saying, there's a lot of modding for the original AC and Richard Burns Rally it's really pure. It's coming from the right place. It's not coming from dirty commercial motivation. Not that all commercial motivation is dirty, but you know what I mean. There's a sort of aspect to that, and I think AC is going to be hard to beat for that, even with these new titles. So maybe AC will never be replaced. But if it were, I'm putting my chips on Project Motor Racing. You can, in 3 months' time, November 25th, or maybe slightly after, you can see what happens. But interested to know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? I just, ultimately as well, I actually really just hope that, I want Evo to be really, really good. I hope that Kunos work out the damping force feedback, the weird physics, and God knows what's going on with it, and all the UI and everything. I want Evo to be awesome, because personally, I really want Project Motor Racing to be great. I want Evo to be great. I want iRacing to be great with tyres that work at the limit properly. We had to get that in the video. It's mandatory. And I want Rennsport to do great as well, especially with all these titles that are cross-platform. we need more Sims on console, because console is the key to ruining more people's lives. They instantly buy a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox, and then they get a driving game, and then they get a steering wheel, and before they know it, they've got a sim rig in the house. Before they know it, they've got a VR headset. Before they know it, they've got a motion rig, and then they're watching Game of Muscle videos, and then they are hating their lives. And that is what we want. So there you go. Well, until the next one, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Happy tea drinking, take care, and goodbye. Fish emoji, teapot, fish emoji.